Well, hello to everybody in our amazing community. It's Teresa Sanderson, and I'm super excited to connect with you today. Today, we've got a special guest with us. Her name is Lakesha Hairston, and she's an RN, nurse entrepreneur, and she's our special guest today, our featured guest on the Nurse Entrepreneur Spotlight. So, Lakesha, I just want to welcome you and thank you for sharing some time with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
Oh my gosh,
Excited.
you are so welcome. Yeah, I'm excited. I know you have a lot going on
Yes.
with your business, so I just really thought this will be a fun opportunity to chat and see what's going on. So,
Yes.
why don't you just take a few minutes and tell us a little bit about you and what your business is all about, what kind of thing you're doing?
Okay. All right. Well, a little bit about me. Actually, I just celebrated my 50th birthday in Cabo, so I got to start
Oh
there.
man, yeah, happy birthday.
We cannot take life for granted. I have to say that. A little bit about me. I am from the Midwest. I'm from Indiana,
I
and I
love it.
currently live in San Antonio, Texas. And I've been here about 5 years now. So what I tell people is I am a Texanized Hoosier because I will never forget my roots. I'm a Texanized Hoosier.
Love
And
it.
I'm adjusting very well here. I'm a very like outgoing type person, even though I'm an introvert. I tell people I'm an ambivert because we all have those moments, but I have an outgoing, very like genuine personality. I have two grown children and
Oh,
two grandbabies that are back home. My grandbabies are back home in Indiana. So anytime I get to go home and see them, which I'll be traveling this March, the end of this month, to celebrate my granddaughter's second birthday.
oh, love that.
Let me see. I'm just a happy-go-lucky person. Just love to be happy. And
Great.
it's a conscious choice every day to be happy. And I'm a nurse. Love being a nurse. Once you get started, after you finish school, it's like you often ask yourself, "What in the world did I get myself into?" And it is a major adjustment. And you
Huh?
have to really own it. You
Yes.
accepted that Hippocratic oath, and you have to really own it. And becoming a nurse really changed me as a person, personally and professionally.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a little bit about my businesses.
Yeah.
I own an entry level education training center here in San Antonio, Chosen Careers and Healthcare Training. And I established the business in August of 2020, and I launched in 2021 and became a licensed career school July of 2021. Our Thank you. Our major
Whoa.
programs is the CNA training.
Mhm.
We do phlebotomy training. We do have a traditional phlebotomy program and a accelerated program. The accelerated program is for those individuals who are currently healthcare providers and that have been in healthcare for about a year or longer.
Got
Sometimes
it.
we have those phlebotomists who stepped away and they want to get back into it. We have CNAs who want to transition over into a different part or sector of healthcare. So it's good for those individuals who already have healthcare experience to go through that accelerated program because it's only 2 days. It is
Mm-hmm.
only 2 days, but it's very intense. It's 10 hours each day. And they do have an opportunity to practice those phlebotomy skills. Other things that we do here at Chosen Careers, I have another business, Pumping Heart CPR. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, I had launched that one before I launched the Chosen Careers. But what I've done was
Okay.
incorporated both of those together because it's all about education. So
Yep.
anything that I do with education, I am putting it under that Chosen Careers umbrella.
Love that.
Another thing that we do here is nursing skills. As a nurse, if you work in a particular specialty, med surg, and then you transition to, let's say, home care, you kind of step away from that acute care setting, you kind of lose some of those skills if you don't practice them. So
Mhm.
what I've done was incorporated nursing skills, and it's those skills that we do often, but not often. Foley catheter insertion, we got to worry about infection control. So I
Mhm.
have a skills practice for nurses to be able to come and practice Foley catheter insertions. And what I've learned since I've had this business is that some nurses, they have never even put in a Foley catheter, except for when they were in school.
Right.
And that's about how I realized that was I am a prior nurse leader, director of nursing within
Obviously,
very, very long time. And in that role, I was the nursing leader, I was the director, the manager, I was education, I was quality, you know, in that role, there were a lot of different hats. So there was this situation, I had a nurse who was taking care of a patient and he was having some issues and the doctor said, put in a Foley catheter. And it wasn't brought to my attention until the next day, which was the next morning, that when the Foley catheter was inserted, the charge nurse was with this nurse, and the charge nurse just felt that this nurse had no idea what she was doing. The good thing is with my team, I always encourage my team to respect people, no matter what. In that situation, my charge nurse, I wanted her to make sure that she respect that individual, step in discreetly without making it known to that patient that this nurse has no idea what she's doing. Because you don't want to embarrass anybody. You want to respect everybody and you know, because you want to be respected. So when that happened, I'm like, how many other nurses do I have on my team that have difficulty with putting in a Foley catheter, something so simple? So, you know, I decided that, you know, those are some skills that I'm going to incorporate in any training that I do. And I'm sorry, it's my
busy woman. What are we going to say?
I know, right? Okay, so Foley catheter insertion, PICC lines, you know, central lines, the dressing changes, because it's all about infection control.
Right.
We want to make sure that we are completing those tasks and making sure that we are following all of those infection control measures that we have in place, because you know, if it is a maintenance problem and it's caused by us, then that patient can get an infection, and then that starts a whole different, you know, sequence of problems that that patient has. So Foley catheter insertion, central line dressing changes. I do an IV insertion. I'm sorry, IV certification.
Love it.
Course here as well. Also, chest tube, pleural drainage, dressing changes and maintenance and all of that. And of course, that came about because of experience. I have a sister who is dealing with cancer, and when she was in the hospital, me being a nurse, I usually don't tell people that I'm a nurse.
Right.
You know, because I want to see what you're doing. She has some issues, and the nurses that was taking care of her, none of them knew how to manage a chest tube. And
oh, good gosh.
And I even had to speak to the quality team like the next day before I had came back home, because that was very alarming for me. So those things, I felt it's important for me to incorporate those type of learning skills into my, you know, my school, so that nurses can come and practice those skills away from their hospital setting.
Right. I love that. That is so supportive, you know, and it's true. Nurses who work in home care and hospice, it's just such a different discipline. You really rely on just, you know, you've really got to hone your assessment skills. So your assessment skills get really, really keen. But as far as doing invasive procedures, those things really, they're not really utilized as much. So I think that's fantastic.
Absolutely. So it's all about supporting my peers, supporting this profession. That is so important. Thank you. Another thing
I hear you.
Going on is I just recently, and it was a day before I took off to Cabo, I went and took my state exam to get my life insurance agent license, and I passed, and that's something that I am launching as well. And then a staffing agency that I already have in existence. I'm setting a goal and a plan for myself to get that launched within the next 3 to 6 months or so.
I love it. I love it. And I wish you just abundant success in all of
Yes,
your endeavors. So, you're reaching now into financial services with, life
yes.
insurance, you're getting into staffing. I mean, that need is just going to continue to be persistent in what we're going through. Congratulations on everything you've
Thank
done so
you.
far and everything that you will do in the future. This is fantastic. So,
Thank you.
tell us a little bit, Lakesha, about what your life was like working as an RN before you started your business. What was that
Okay.
like for you?
Well, when you get your degree, when you finish school, it's like, oh my God, I have all this time on my hands. But all at the same time, you're in this transition
Yeah.
because, again, as a nurse, you go to school, you learn so much, and there's so much you learn. And it's like, okay, what am I going to do with all of this information? And
Mm-hmm.
when you become a nurse, we are so talented. We have so much to offer. We're so knowledgeable. We tend to get stuck because
Mm-hmm.
nursing, I'm a nurse, that's what I'm going to do, that's what I have to do because I went to school and I'm a nurse. I love what I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing. I love being a professional nurse, but all at the same time, we do not feel that it's okay to step outside of that box. So
Right.
working as a nurse, I mean, I grew as a professional, I grew as an individual because it becomes your life.
It
It really
does.
does become your life.
Yeah.
You develop your customer service skills, you develop your leadership skills, you develop how to respond to situations that have nothing to do with nursing. It just changes you as a whole. So working as a nurse, I grew as an individual, but I've been a nurse for about 14 years now. And up until I would say maybe 4 years ago, I've talked about starting a business. I had no idea what I wanted to do because we don't credit ourselves the way that we should. We
Mm-hmm.
have so much knowledge and so
Yep.
much talent. We just don't credit ourselves and we don't give ourselves that credit.
Right.
And we don't feel that we can step away from nursing.
Mm-hmm.
So about 4 or 5 years ago, like I said, I talked about it and I said I wanted to do it, but my mind wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a nurse. That's all I know.
Yeah.
I'm a nurse.
Yeah.
I have to work as a nurse.
Yeah.
And then a few years ago is when I decided that, you know what, I am more to just being a nurse. I have so
Mm-hmm.
much to offer. I'm an educator, I'm a leader, I'm a mentor, I'm a motivator. I mean, the whole shebang. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
what am I going to do with all of this? These are life
Yes.
experiences too. What am I going to do with it?
Yes.
So I decided that I'm going to continue to be a nurse because I still work PRN
Mm-hmm.
as a nurse on a rehab unit, because I
Uh-huh.
love it. I really
Right.
do PRN, but I decided that I was going to utilize my talents
Mm-hmm.
and do things my way, because as a nurse, the politics, you got to follow everybody's rules and there's
Oh,
nothing
yeah.
wrong with that. But, I decided that, I wanted to start my own businesses, not just one, but start my own businesses and do things my way and incorporate myself, my talents, my personality, and just continue to support, this profession in that manner. And that's when I decided to go ahead and start a entry-level education training program
Mm-hmm.
because before I became a
Okay.
nurse, I was 16 and I worked in home care, not certified, but just as an assistant. So
Right.
it seems like everything that I'm doing now, it is, I guess it has developed from my past,
Mm-hmm.
the CNA school, the phlebotomy, because I worked as a phlebotomist for a while and
Mm-hmm.
incorporating different professional skills into my training as well. Here at the school, it's like everything that I'm doing now is, I guess it has developed from my past experiences. So, I
That.
mean, I just felt it was
Mm-hmm.
time. And like I said, my mind wasn't right. And when I
Yeah.
decided to flip that switch,
Mm-hmm.
you got to
Mm-hmm.
make that decision and not be afraid because I was
Yep.
afraid of the what ifs. I had to leave
Right.
that alone as well, get those
Mm-hmm.
out of your mind because if you don't go for what you really want to do, or if you don't set those goals for yourself and start making those plans and just go after it, that what if will always be there. Well, what if I
Mm-hmm.
did try, or what if I do, rather than what if I fail? I'm not worried
Yes.
about failing. because you grow from failing. So
I love that. And I think, you said something that to me is very profound in that, and that is the what ifs will always be there.
mhm,
And for all of those nurses who incubate the idea of starting their own business, my personal spiritual belief pattern tells me that idea, that inkling that gets planted, that call that gets placed on our heart, to do such a thing comes from the divine, right? And what if, are we just burying our talents in the ground and we're not going to make any use of those? Or because,
yep,
and I'm not saying we don't need nurses at the bedside. I get that.
mhm,
But I also get that, like you said, our life experiences and our nursing experiences prepare us for the next thing.
yes,
And so the saddest thing that I ever see is nurses who retire from their careers having dreamed of starting their own businesses and never even tried.
absolutely,
Never even
absolutely,
tried. That just, oh, it just breaks my heart because
yes,
you're absolutely right. Nurses make great entrepreneurs. We've got the
yes,
skill set already.
yes, absolutely.
We've
And
got it.
Teresa, when we speak to our peers and we share our ideas, it's like we don't often, I would say, working as a full-time bedside nurse, I did not feel that at that time that I was supporting and motivating and encouraging my peers
Yeah.
to do and utilize their talents. But
Mhm.
now, because I have this totally different outlook, anytime I speak to one of my peers, if I hear them say anything about something that they're good at, it's like, you need to run for that, take
Yeah.
off with it, and let me
Yeah.
help you. Let me show you how to get started. So,
Oh,
yeah,
I love
we do
that.
bury it. Mhm.
I love that. Yeah, it's so true. So, now since you've started your own business, how's your life changed since you started your own business?
Oh my goodness. Now, when I first got started, it was stressful. It was so stressful because again, it's those what ifs, and
Hmm.
you don't really have that knowledge and that education on how to effectively run a business, but you learn pretty quickly. You learn pretty quickly. You find those mentors, you do a lot of reading. You have to go after those resources to help you become a successful business owner.
Hmm.
Now, I am in a totally different mindset because every day that I wake up, I have something that I'm looking forward to. And that looking forward to is a business that I have created, that I have developed, and it is my motivator every day. This is something that I feel like I've birthed. And every
And
day that I wake up, I am going to put my best foot forward because
mhm,
I am loving what I do, because I'm
mhm,
still a nurse,
right.
I'm still an educator, I'm
Yeah.
still a leader, and I'm just loving what I do. And I have a totally different outlook on life now. It's all about doing what makes you happy. It's
Hmm.
creating your own environment, your own life, and not
Yep.
allowing people to tell you you can't do it, because you hear that all the time. You can't,
Hmm.
yeah, you can. And you
Hmm.
have to change your mindset. And my mindset, I am a totally different person,
I
totally different.
love
And
that.
I'm happier, even though I've
Hmm.
always been a happy-go-lucky person. I feel
Hmm.
that I am more, uh, I guess, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. I am more, I done lost my word.
Joyful, maybe?
Maybe so. I'm just a happier person,
I
because
love that.
I'm doing what I love to do. I'm
Hmm.
absolutely doing what I love to do, and
Hmm.
able to share that, with the
Hmm.
world is, it just gives me that inspiration like every day. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love hearing all of that. I love hearing all of that. So it sounds like there's been just such a positive impact on your life by
Yes.
you stepping into this thing that was no doubt scary, no doubt
Mhm.
stressful when you started, but then to just say, "Oh, I got this." Kind of switches to,
Absolutely.
"I got this. This is all
Absolutely.
right."
And you do have to have those conversations with yourself.
Mhm.
I got this. and
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. So I'm
Yeah.
a
Love it.
totally different outlook, positive, and my thing is, it is what it is. And if something is happening within my businesses and I feel that, and you have to be proactive. I
Mhm.
feel that it is something that could potentially cause, some issues. I am going to work, and if I can recognize it soon enough, I'm going to already put some, plans in place to, change the outcome,
Mhm.
because it is something that I'm loving what I'm doing. I mean, I'm doing everything that I want to do, and it's so positive for me. Totally
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Um, One last question, and then I'm going to let you share a little bit more about your business with our viewers here. But for all of the nurses who are out there, Lakesha, who are thinking, man, there's this thing, this business I'd love to start. I just don't know how, or I really wish I could do something different as a nurse. I just don't know how to make any money doing anything as a nurse, and my family relies on my income.
Yeah.
Scared to get started. What advice would you give? What's the one piece of advice that you'd want to share with that person that you think would be the most important thing for him or her to hear?
My most important, or the one piece of advice that I would offer, is to get rid of those fears. And yes, your family depends on your income. I was broke when I started my business. I'm not even going to sugarcoat that. I didn't know, how am I going to save and cut corners and do this and do that. You have to make it work. Get your mind right, utilize your talents, get rid of that fear, and go for it. And like, it's easier said than done, and I totally get that. But if you want to make that positive change in your life and create that environment for yourself and your family,
Mhm.
you have to make those changes within first, and then go for your goals. Because if you don't, then you're going to always have that fear. And that
Mhm.
fear is what's going to cause you to not be successful.
I love that. And of course, the old acronym for fear, false evidence appearing real, right?
Yes,
False evidence
yes.
appearing real, but we can be so trapped by that. So I want to thank you,
Thank
Lakesha, for
you.
just sharing so much with us today about your journey and your story. And as we wind up here today, I want to give you, a few minutes just to talk about your business, any special offers you have going on, how people can contact you, and that kind of thing. So the floor is
Yes.
yours, lady.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So with
Sure.
all of my businesses, I am on social media. I am on Google. Google My Business is so important. So you can find Chosen Careers and Healthcare Training, Pumping Heart CPR, Chosen Med Staffing. You can find all of those on Facebook, Instagram. I have websites. So Chosen Careers and Healthcare Training. The website is chosencareerstraining.com, and then pumpingheartcpr.com, and then Chosen Med Staffing. One thing I did not mention, Teresa, and I do apologize. I actually, probably about 9 months ago, I had got my CLIA waiver.
Mhm.
And so I kind of sat on that because you get so busy with things, but I sat on that. And so now I have Primary Lab, which is a CLIA waived lab. And I am getting myself involved with doing COVID testing, and
Okay.
actually preparing to be able to do vaccines. But even with that lab, because I have that CLIA waiver, I can do more than COVID testing. I can do flu testing. I can do drug testing,
Right.
TBs and all of that. So I have incorporated all of that, because when students come to my program, I want
Mhm.
them to be able to get their CPR because they have to be
Mhm.
certified. I want
Right.
them to be able to, if facility that we're doing our clinicals in requires them to have COVID testing, negative results, I want them to be able to get it done here. When
Mhm.
students finish my program, I am a parametric testing site. So when students finish my program,
Ah,
when they sign up to take their state exam, all they have to do is sign up through Prometric, find our school, and they can take their exam here.
love
And I
that.
did that because I want my students, they've already completed their program here. So why not take your written and your state exam in a facility that you're already familiar with? So I want to create this platform to where my students don't have to go out and try and find the resources that they need to be successful. As a little girl, I was fishing for stuff. I was that sailboat, not really having that guidance, no one to really mentor me. I didn't even know what a mentor was, to be honest. And so for me, as I've grown into full entrepreneurship, I want to create that platform to where, individuals that I am assisting, I don't want them to be where I was, having to fish and find and not really know how to get resources that they need to be successful. So I'm creating that platform of things that I did not have. And it's important for me to be able to do that.
Fantastic. Oh my gosh. And
Thank you.
what I'm hearing, I just have to share this before we wind up, is that Lakesha, first of all, you come to the world with a heart of service.
Yes.
And so that heart of service wants you to create this continuum for your students where they have everything they need to get started. And the important thing that I want our viewers to recognize is the multiple income streams that you have built into this school. So there's CPR training. There is now waived testing through the CLIA waiver. There is phlebotomy, CNA, all your other courses that you have under your roof. And then they can test there as well. All of these are income streams. And then you have your staffing agency, and then you have your life insurance. So we're looking at, if everybody can see these multiple income streams, because the trouble that nurses have in being able to leave their job, what brings on that great fear is having one income stream. And the most pronounced or sign of having only one income stream is being stuck in a job you hate and feeling like you can't leave it because it's the only paycheck you have coming in.
Absolutely.
That is why multiple income streams are so important. So, oh my gosh, what a great example you are for all of us. And I just wish you abundant success in all that you do. And I want to thank you again for spending some time with us today on the Nurse Entrepreneur Spotlight.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for the invite. Yes.
Oh, you are so welcome. And to all of our viewers, we will catch you next week on the Nurse Entrepreneur Spotlight. Thank you for joining us. Bye.
Bye-bye.